All right, so I asked you, and it's a vote, and you guys seem to overwhelmingly want to go ahead and do surface areas and volumes of 3D shapes. Looks like 8 of you wanted to do more stuff with circles and angles. Good for you guys. We'll do that afterwards. So we're going to do both of these anyway, but we'll do for this unit surface areas, volumes of 3D shapes. So to kick us off, let's take a look at 3D stuff. So if you could imagine blocks, right? So the good old Legos that you used to play with as a kid, or maybe you didn't, who knows? We can take a look at a three-dimensional shape as best as we can by looking at these kind of cubes, right? And we can look at it in different ways, right? We can kind of peer at it. But sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of fully figure out how many, for instance, blocks make up this shape. So I want to take a second and talk about that a little bit today. And I'm going to look at a couple different ways of viewing three-dimensional shapes. So if you look at this shape, or this weird three-dimensional shape, how many cubes do you think would be in this shape? I want you to think about that for a second. Pause the video if you want. Think about it. How many cubes might there be? All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. One way to do that is just, counting, right? So I could count out here, like there's definitely one cube here, another cube here, 3 cubes. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one I'm assuming isn't hovering. I'm assuming it's like on top of another cube. So we got to count the cube below it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a cube here. There must be a cube underneath it. So 7, 8. There's a cube up here. So there must be 2 cubes underneath that one. You know what I mean? Now this can get kind of confusing. So one way we can make this a little bit more simpler is we can develop what is known as a map plan. A map plan takes a three-dimensional shape and just pretty much puts it top view, okay? And if you kind of think of what we were looking at three-dimensionally here, this was definitely like a 3x3 grid, and there was just blocks being placed on top of each of those spots on that grid. What a map plan is it's pretty much like a top-down view of this shape, right? But instead of the top-down view like this, where you can't really see the depth of it, it's just pretty much saying like how many cubes are in each of those spots, right? So in this back corner, there's 2, there's 3, there's 2, there's 1, there's 2, there's 1, there's 1, there's 1. So again, this would be the map plan of this three-dimensional shape. Now in a map plan, much easier to quickly count up how many cubes are in this shape, right? Because you can just kind of total it up. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So there's 13 cubes in this shape, okay? Another way of saying that would be that this is the volume of the shape. Now a volume is represented by how many 1 by 1 by 1 unit cubes can fit into a shape. Now this rigid kind of like corner, like cubic looking shape in the first place is always going to have like a solid number of cubes that will fit into it because it's made up of cubes itself. So that would be the answer to the volume of this. It would be 13 cubes that would fit in it. That's why when you'll see the answer keys to a lot of these volume worksheets that we'll eventually do, the unit that we use is the units cubed, because we're counting up cubes when we use volumes of these shapes. So if I were you, I would just jot down the volume formula, or not formula, but the definition is just the measurement of how many cubes can fit into a three-dimensional shape. Let's continue. The next way we can view a shape is just looking at its side, top, and right view, right? So because it's a 3D shape, you kind of have to look at it in 3 different ways. Now, I don't have a 3D shape of this yet, so we're going to construct a 3D shape using this block tool that I have. But I'm going to start by making, like the top view, make sure that it looks like that top view, front view, make sure that the front view looks like that, and then the right view, make sure that the right looks like that. So let me go back to my little block tool here. Now, the disappointing thing about this, y'all, is that normally I would have you guys be playing with Legos for these lessons, but unfortunately we're not together, so we will not be playing with Legos. But if you have little 1 by 1 Lego cubes, you could totally go ahead and do this. But I digress. So let's take a look at this shape again. So the top view has everything gridded in except this little guy. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I am going to change it to my top view. I'm going to click a cube in each of these spaces. And I'm going to go back to my isometric view. So far, that's what that would look like. That's what that 3D shape would look like. But I am not done yet. I need to make sure that my front view looks like this. So I'm definitely going to do that. So the front view, again, needs to look kind of like stairs. So I'm going to go, oh, it doesn't look like that. Now, I'm going to actually have to probably add it on top in the isometric view. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it's looking something like stairs, okay? So maybe one on top here and then go down like that, right? So if I look at my front view now, hey, that kind of looks like that, right? All right, my right view looks like this. Okay, so my right view right now looks like that. That is totally wrong. So, okay, so I need 3 in the middle, and then 2 on each side. So let's do that real quick. So I'm going to get rid of these. Let's go back here. I need, again, let's hear 3 in the middle. So I'm going to stack 3 in the middle like that. And then if you look here, it needs 2 on each side. So that would mean I would need, let's see here, 2 there. I need to add stuff on there. So let's look at the right view now. So now I definitely have that, but it says that in the middle there's 1. Now I could put this going back. I could put this literally on really any one of these to make the right view work, right? Like I could, for instance, put it on here, and now my right view would be working. But the problem is, if I look at my front view, it's totally not working. So where might I put that cube to make everything work? If you guess like in this spot, you are totally right. So let's take a look again at my top view. Top view looks good. My front view needs to look like steps. Let's go back here. My front view, does not look like steps, so I might need to tweak that. But my right view, let's see if that looks right. Definitely looks good, right? So the thing that I might play with to get everything working is maybe I need to get rid of this guy and this guy to get my front view working again. So again, my front view looks good. My top view looks good. My right view looks good. So this is definitely the 3D shape that is associated with this top, front, and right. Now, top, front, and right, if it's given to you like this, it's not the easiest to figure out, but you can definitely, by process elimination, kind of like what you're doing, you can definitely build your 3D shape. And the more you do this, the better you get at building these 3D shapes. Now that we're looking at this 3-dimensional shape, let's figure out the volume of it. So volume of this, there's 2 rows of these 6 cubes, so there'd be 12 there, right? There'd be these 2 additional cubes there, so that'd be 14, and then there's this 1 cube on top, so that would be 15. So the volume of this would be 15 cubes, right? All right, so let's go on to the next example. All right, so example 1 is going to say, what is the volume of this? Now, if I'm given a map plan, I could go ahead and build a 3D model and then figure out how many cubes. I'm going to do that for you just in a second. But if the goal is just to figure out what the volume of this map plan is, then by all means, go ahead and just count up how many cubes are in each spot, and you'd be done, right? So you'd have like 3, 6, 3, 6, what is that? 8, 10, 11. So the volume of this is going to be 11. But if they want you to find like the front, right, and top views of this, then it's probably a good idea that you make the shape. So let's just make a shape of that. By the way, when you're using this tool, if you click on the sides of these cubes, as you can see, it gets rid of it. If you click on the top of the cubes, they add. So just a word of the wise. So let's real quick, I'm going to go to top view to make this a little bit quicker. I'm going to go 0, 2, 0. I'm going to go 0, 1, 2, 0, so leave that one blank. It's going to be 3, 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I got 3, 3, 2, and then 0, 1, 0. So leave this blank, 1, 0. Then I can go back to isometric view, and then I can check out this shape, right? So if you needed like a front side, top side, and a right side view, you could quickly get that, again, if you're using this 3D Blocks editor. So anyway, that's example one. And again, if I was asking just for the volume, you could just add those up, and there would be your volume. Okay, so whoopsies. Example number 2. So, and then that would be the front, right, and top view of that. Again, that's exactly what we got from, again, front, top, and right view, right, of that shape. Okay. All right, now so on to example number 2. Say for example, I gave you a front, right, and top view and said, hey, what's the volume, or what's the map plan for it? So we can do the reverse of this as well. So let's start by getting rid of everything in my grid. So I'm gonna go to my isometric view and just start getting rid of all these guys. Here we go, boink, boink, boink. All right, we'll start from scratch. So let's start with the top view. I usually start with the top view and then do the front and the right. So I need kind of like a circle looking thing. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so I got that part done. So far that's what that shape would look like. Obviously that's not it. I'm gonna make sure that the front looks something like this. So I'm going to, let's see here. Let's try to be a little bit more strategic this time. So if the front looks like that, and then the right, the middle side has 3, and then, all right. So let's see if we can be a little bit more strategic this time. So we got front looking like this. So maybe we'll do boink, and then 1, 2. See what the front looks like right now. So the front looks like this, which is exactly what we want our front to look like. Cool. The right is looking like that. So 1, 3, and then 2. Let's see what we got here. We got 1, 3, and then we need 2. So where should I put that other block? So if I put it, for example, here, that's not going to change my front view at all. So that's actually very, very nice. If you take a look at that, the front view looks good. The right view, let's see if we got this right view good. Right view looks good as well, right? Now, is there another place I could have put it? I maybe could have squeaked it behind that. But then again, we couldn't do that because that would have affected our top view. So yeah, that seems like the right place to put it is right here. So again, our top view checks out, our front view checks out, and then our right view checks out, okay? So let's figure out what would the volume of this be. So the volume of this would be, we have 1, 2 here, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then there's 11 over here. So that would be 11 would be our amount of cubes. So that would be the volume. Now, if I were to do a map plan, I could again think top down how many cubes are in each of these spaces. So there's obviously 0 in this one. There's 2 in this space, 1 in this space, 1, 1, 0 in the middle, 3 in this space, 2 in this space, and then 1 in this space, right? So that map plan would look something like this, right? So 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, and then 1 with zeros in the middle and then the corner, right? And then again, I could add that up if I made a map plan quickly to find the volume. So a couple things to think about when it comes to introducing 3D shapes. Again, you can make shapes into map plans or front, top, and side views, and that is one way of exploring three-dimensional shapes. So in the attendance task today, I have a few volume problems for you, and then the homework today is actually a few bookwork problems. One of them will be just like this, and a couple of will be review problems. And then next time we meet, I'm going to talk a little bit about 3D shapes and surface area. So hopefully that helps. If you would like to access on the form or any of the things I do have on the form today in the attendance task, I do have a link to this 3D editor. You'll see that in the attendance task, and you'll be able to manipulate it just like I was doing, and that might be helpful for doing some of these problems. All right, so you guys have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, again, office hours are daily 1 to 2 p.m. See you there. Bye.